G'day everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Unplayable Podcast. We've got a special episode for you today with the announcement of the Women's World Cup squad that's going to India and Sri Lanka next month. My name is Josh on the finger. Coming up on this episode, we've also got a chat with Mitchell Starc after his retirement from T20 internationals. But first, let's get to women's cricket editor of cricket.com.au, Laura Jolly, who is going to be following the Aussies over to India for the World Cup and has the latest on the squad. How are you going, LJ?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. We finally got the Aussie squad. A lot of the teams have already announced their squad of 15, so good to finally get the Aussie one locked in. What was the first thing that sort of took your eye when you laid eyes on the 15?
I think the big one is the return of Sophie Molyneux. Obviously underwent knee surgery back in January, and at the time it kind of sounded like they were always very confident she'd be fit for this World Cup and there'll be no issues. But as it stands, she's been named, but she won't play in the ODIs. They're in the ODI series in India ahead of the World Cup. So I think it shows that her fitness for this tournament is way more touch and go than what we actually thought. If they're saying she won't be right for ODIs in the middle of September, but could be fine for the start of October. So that'll be interesting. And if she does get a game, she won't have played in 9 months leading up to whenever she does play during the World Cup. So that will be pretty interesting to see how that goes and for them to pick someone who hasn't had any game time under their belt.
Yeah, so Australia have that ODI series against India between September 14 and 20 before that first game against New Zealand of the World Cup is on October 1. But as you say, it seems like this Aussie side really rate Molyneux and see her as a vital member and possibly someone who can have a big impact come the business end of this tournament.
Yeah, they must. And they must know that she can come in and straight away, find her feet and have an impact on the team. Obviously, having that left arm option is really important to them, and they seem to have moved on from Jess Jonathan. So that's probably a big part of it too. And it does seem like if anything goes wrong and Molyneux doesn't get up, it'll be Charlie Knott who's the one who will stay on and take her place in the World Cup. So, yeah, interesting times ahead.
Yeah, well, Charlie Knott will be with the squad for those 3 ODIs against India, along with Nicole Fulton, but they won't be hanging around, as you say, in case of a bit of injury for the actual World Cup proper. Is there a chance that they could stay on as a travelling reserve, perhaps, LJ?
It's unlikely. The selectors have said the pair will go home to play WNCL, which I think makes sense. I think other teams do like to have travelling reserves on hand. Australia's approach is usually, if it's cricket season back home and there's cricket to be played, they'd prefer the reserves were at home playing WNCL than running drinks. They did have a couple of travelling reserves for the last World Cup in 2022, but that was because the New Zealand borders were closed. So if they'd had some injuries, they weren't getting anyone else in. But this time round, I think we'll see Fulton and Knott go home. It will be interesting to see if Knott makes her debut during those ODIs, because there is also a little injury cloud that was hanging over Georgia Wareham, who went home from the 100 early with a groin injury. So there is a chance that she might actually get a cap during those 3 one-days.
Well, exciting times for Charlie Knott. And yeah, a few question marks or clouds over a few of those Aussie spinners, so she'll want to be on top of her game if she does get that crack. There are 5 first-time squad members who have been named. Phoebe Litchfield, Georgia Vole, Sophie Molyneux is one of those, as well as Georgia Wareham and Kim Garth. Grace Harris was a part of that squad at the last ODI World Cup, but didn't play. So lots of fresh faces. It's only been 3 years since that World Cup win in New Zealand, but plenty of change.
Yeah, that was one thing that stood out to me too. And you've obviously got 2 very experienced players with Molyneux and Wareham, who missed the last World Cup through injury. But yeah, fresh faces who've come into the squad too with Litchfield and Vole. And missing from that World Cup team that won in New Zealand last time was obviously Meg Lanning and Rachel Haynes, who've retired, and Jess Johnson, Nicola Carey have kind of been moved on from. So yeah, a bit of change.
Well, it's exciting to see because not just if we look back at that last World Cup, you mentioned Meg Lanning was the captain, Matthew Mott was the coach. So change all through the squad. It's exciting to see. And Grace Harris, she's got a chance to play her first ODI World Cup game. She's been in the T20 squad quite a lot over the past couple of years, but not so much in the ODIs. Where do you sort of see her fitting in to the potential 11?
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. I think they obviously had to pick her. She's been in outrageously good form over in England, obviously different conditions and a shorter format. But she's been in such good form all winter that you want to have her in that World Cup squad. But how you fit her into the 11 is really tricky, because you think about, you've got a top 7 of Healy, Litchfield, then you've got Elise Perry, Annabelle Sutherland, Beth Mooney, Ash Gardner, and Talia McGrath, and that's your top 7. So I don't see any of those that they would actually drop to make room for Harris. So what, you slide her in at 8 and lose a bowler? It's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's tough. It's going to be very much conditions dependent, you would assume. LJ, have you had a look at the other squads that have come in? Anything taking your eye from the other nations?
Yeah, I think the big one for England's squad was obviously Kate Cross missing out. She was incredibly vulnerable and had an incredibly vulnerable chat on her podcast, the No Balls Cricket Podcast, with her mate Alex Hartley, where she opened up about missing out on that squad and how shocked she was, given she was captaining that team in a fill-in capacity earlier in the summer for England, and has been such a core member of that team for so long. But they've kind of gone with the higher pace of Lauren Bell and Lauren Filer over her consistency and experience. So that was a really big call there for England. And I think the other one just a couple of days ago was South Africa naming their squad with no Darneva Nearkirk in it. She's come out of retirement. She's put her hand up and says she wants back in, but hasn't found her way back in there just yet.
That's a shame, because we're big fans of Darnay on this podcast. The England one I found really interesting because they were thrashed by Australia last summer, but it's a pretty similar squad to what we saw, isn't it? I mean, not a lot of change.
No, hardly any at all. To be fair, I don't know who could have got in that isn't there. They probably haven't got anyone bashing down the door demanding a place in that team just yet. Maybe their T20 World Cup at home next year, we'll see a few different names pop up who've just been really good in the 100. So I don't think there are too many options. Different captain, obviously, with Nat Sibber-Brunt. I think there's still a bit of an injury cloud over Heather Knight. She had quite a serious hamstring injury earlier in their summer and is still kind of on the rehab trail, even though she's been named in the squad. And then Sarah Glenn's earned a recall. They're going pretty spin heavy in that squad too.
Yep, that makes sense. Now, LJ, you're going to be following the Aussies around India and Sri Lanka for the tournament. When do you actually jet off to the subcontinent?
The team's heading off next Wednesday. So it's quite a long trip. It's going to be 8 weeks away for the team when you add in those 3 ODIs at the start. So it's a really big one for the players, and it's going to be really challenging. There's a week in Sri Lanka in the middle of it, another place they haven't toured since 2016. Lots of new venues. I don't think they've played at any of the grounds before, aside from if they make the final, they'll get to play at DY Patil in Navi Mumbai. So, yeah, interesting times ahead.
LJ, we look forward to catching up with you all throughout the tournament. All the best and safe travels.
Thank you.
So earlier this week, Mitch Starc announced that he was stepping away from T20 international cricket, even though there's a World Cup just around the corner. Well, 6 months away in India and Sri Lanka early next year. It was a decision that caught a few by surprise, but Starc seems pretty happy with the decision. I got to sit down with him this week and ask him a couple of those questions. And my first was, why is now the time that he chose to step away from the format?
There's a few reasons. I mean, it wasn't sudden. I thought about it for a while. You always think a little bit longer till you pull the trigger. Yeah, I just feel like probably a good time. 35 now. I want to, tests have always been my priority, and they will remain the priority. And I want to, for lack of a better term, milk my body as much as I can for as much test cricket. So that was never going to be off the table. I just felt like one of the others had to give a little bit, and with a few conversations, I feel like I've got plenty to offer that ODI team, and with that, obviously, a goal of getting my body to 27, but also being good enough to be in that team for the World Cup 27. Felt this was the best opportunity to perform Test cricket and get to that World Cup. Obviously, the time now is with some T20 games coming up. It's a great opportunity for that bowling attack to just focus on the World Cup. I don't want to interrupt any of that. They're going great. You've got some guys that have made their their spot's their own in that T20 side. So yeah, it just felt like the right time. There's a few opportunities for other things later in the year away from playing cricket. Not opportunities, but other things I want to be around for. So just felt right.
That's exciting. Did you have to consult Pat and Josh, tell them you're breaking up the big three?
No, I did let them know. I didn't ask them. I spoke to Ronnie and then told the two of them I was done. Yeah, that was about it. I probably should have rang Mitchie. I felt bad because he texted me and said he found out through Instagram. So I felt bad about that one. Sorry, Mitchie. Didn't tell the captain, but yeah.
And a lot of other guys have given away ODIs before T20 International, especially in this Aussie team. But as you said, you wanted to get to that 2027 World Cup. Was that the main driving force to keep ODIs on your roster?
Yeah, I sort of ummed and ahed a bit around which was the right option to put to the side. And if I wasn't going to be in the frame for 27, then I didn't want to hold up a spot. So yeah, as I said, I still feel like I got pleaded off for that ODI team. The T20 team seems, pretty settled with guys that have done some great stuff. Ellis is flying. Bernard Dorsh's come in and played a great role. Spence when he's played some good stuff. Sean Abbott. So I feel like that team's in a great spot, and yeah, I don't need to interrupt that. So yeah, and I've enjoyed T20. I still enjoy T20 cricket when I play, but it's certainly not my number one priority.
Yeah. I just had a look. Your debut for Australia was in 2012 in Dubai. Do you remember that match against Pakistan?
Bits of it, yes. I do remember walking out onto the field for the warm-up with Ben Ilfenhaus. And
Heel feet, okay.
there was this is in the warm-up, and we're going into a cap presentation, and he goes, he looked around and he goes, "Who's that going?" "Oh, I thought you'd already played." So yeah, it wasn't
him giving you your cap.
No. But yeah, it was. I do remember it in Dubai. I don't know if it was a wide first ball or second ball, but I think we got a wicket the first over and sort of relaxed me a bit. So it was cool.
Imran Nazir bowled, so that's good. And it was a tie as well. Went to a super over that match, if you remember that. 9 years later, though, you're back in Dubai lifting the T20 World Cup. What a moment that must have been.
That was a cool campaign. Yeah, it was another one in COVID restrictions, so we were stuck in a bubble together. But I think the group we had, a group of fantastic players, but a very enjoyable group to be a part of when you're locked down. There was a lot of golf, there was a lot of laughs, a lot of success, and it finished with the ultimate goal. So yeah, to be a part of that group for the campaign was really special, and then to win the first men's T20 World Cup for Australia was really cool too. So at least it brings me back down to earth, and it's just one, calm down. But go. But a couple of three-peats or whatever it may be. But no, it was really cool to be a part of that campaign, and because a lot of guys that sort of played a lot of T20, a lot of cricket together, to then be there and lift the trophy was cool.
You're going to have a bit of free time in February and March now. What are you going to be doing?
Well, an opportunity to watch Elisa play that Indian series would be cool. The test match in Perth. Maybe some BBL cricket. I don't know. We'll see what happens after the Sydney test. But yeah, so it's going to create a little bit of time to work on my golf swing. But it's always watch the girls hopefully dominate India as well.